Hello, my name's Rob Pearson and this is the Access Rundown of the 20 PS4 games you need to be excited about in 2015. The usual caveats apply. There are other games you should also be excited about in 2015, and some of these games might not make it out in 2015 because games are really hard to make. Now let's begin. We've seen the videos with space dinosaurs, been shown demonstrations of the world-generating tech in action, and even had it explained to us in person by the man making the game. But we still can't believe that No Man's Sky really contains a whole galaxy of explorable planets, an infinite to the point of human practicality variety of life and landscapes, which means your life will run out before the variety does, and a densely packed digital black hole of wonder and mystery. What is the game really about? What will we do amongst the stars? Can I crash into a dinosaur's head if I wanted to? All we do know is Nathan's favourite band is doing a whole album of new music for the game. They're 65 Days of Static and he liked them before you did, and that we want to play it now, but we'll happily wait until then. We were excited about The Division anyway. New York is a brilliant setting for a city as your playground shooter. We went there and measured the place up a bit to be sure. And the post-viral event, everyone's scrap for bean scenario plays on our still tingling Last of Us feelings. But after Destiny, we're more sure it'll work than ever. It specifically being an online console shooter with heavy RPG elements and an emphasis on tech and teamwork. If we fall for it as hard as we did for Bungie's Space Guns Epic, then you'll be seeing a great deal of us in New York. Look, just shut up about all the beards. We know they're great and you like the way they go with the smart military outfits, but that isn't the point. What is the point is how excellent the whole of the Order 1886 looks. So polished that even in motion the game looks like it's been varnished, with a thick textured quality to the light and shadows that makes the secretive neo-Victorian adventure look ridiculously dramatic and important. It is both these things, but it's also about guns. Guns featuring unlikely technology for the time, which send rebel scallywags flying and set fire to a foggy, cobbled London that we really can't wait to explore. And speaking of foggy, cobbled places we can't wait to explore, that's pretty much the opposite of how we feel about E. Harnham, the new, hollowed out and haunted location of Dark Souls follow-up Bloodborne. It shares the same Victorian influences and shadowy hammer gloss as the Order, but with actually terrifying monstrosities lurking in the places we can't see, ready to leap out and impale, unman and dehumanise us in ways we find terrifically unpleasant. While the cliff-face learning curve and general gameplay are consistent with Souls, Bloodborne features exactly no shields and an emphasis on aggressive combat and positive attack strategies. In other words, it's the Real Madrid of PS4 exclusives, if Real Madrid played in leather cloaks stained red with blood and cleaved into their enemies with a retractable scythe. The moment we realised how much we wanted to play DICE's upcoming Star Wars Battlefront was at the EA conference of E3 2014, where they played some John Williams music, showed some art inspired by Endor and Hoth, and we were struck by the fact that the studio that makes Battlefield is making an actual real Star Wars game. Since then, of course, the trailer for J.J. Abrams' new film has been released. Apparently, some people were quite excited, and the new Battlefront is pegged to come out around the same time. Expect glorious locations, expect huge tactical multiplayer battles, and expect us to get a chill every time Williams' score strikes up. I mean, it's Star Wars. Enough blockbusters, what we need is an artistic indie, preferably set in Shropshire during the apocalypse. Enter Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, a first-person story told from multiple perspectives that's still mostly under wraps. But judging from the team behind the game, UK studio The Chinese Room, we can expect something disturbing, touching and unique. And speaking of UK studios doing unique things, next on our list is Until Dawn, the adventure horror from Supermassive Games. This PS4 exclusive takes the tropes and conventions of teen slasher movies, 8 kids taking a trip for an overnight stay at a log cabin, not all of them coming back, and packs them into a tense cinematic experience starring Hayden Panettiere. Expect focus pulls revealing menacing figures, expect a TV that jumps to life, and then, undermining all the warm, nostalgic "I get this" referentiality, expect to be really genuinely scared when the chases start and things get all deadly and serious. There are loads of reasons that Uncharted 4: A Thief's End should be on, and, in the case of a great many of you, at the top of this list. After The Last of Us, Naughty Dog is a studio at the very top of its game, and over many years the Uncharted series provided the backbone of PlayStation 3's awesome lineup. But there's also a subtle shift in tone, that dark subtitle, the looming sense of time catching up with Nathan Drake, and of course the game itself, which we saw running for the first time in December, a glimpse which showed new stealth, new combat mechanics, incredible new environments, and surely the most important of all, new grass. And what really keeps us coming back game after game are those characters, and the warmth and humanity squeezed into them by brilliant performances and the skill of Naughty Dog's team. One more time, Mr. Drake? Absolutely. Of course we're excited about Rime. It's a bright, delicate-looking game about a lonely boy trying to find a way off an island, and it'll probably make us really sad. We're well into this stuff. It's also more evidence that PS4 covers a range of experiences you won't find anywhere else, evidence backed up by the strong Ico and Journey vibes given off by the sense of wonder and artful environments in what we've seen of the puzzly, platformy gameplay. There you go, there's your Rime and your reason to be excited about it. Speaking about uplifting experiences which make you happy to be alive, our next entry is Media Molecule's almost impossibly life-affirming and joyous Tearaway Unfolded. While the PS Vita original used all the bells, whistles and touchpads of the handheld to deliver innovative gameplay with a meaning that reliably resulted in tears shed over the final credits, this PS4 update is making incredible use of the DualShock 4's various functions as well as the PlayStation camera, and of course gives the game's beautiful origami visuals a full HD makeover, wonderful, creative and essential, which just happened to be the best 3 words to say to Batman if you want him to scowl and punch you in the mouth. Although to be fair, almost any 3 words will achieve the same thing. As upcoming trilogy closer Arkham Knight shows, Gotham's caped protector is a very angry man, and all the better for protecting the city almost exclusively through the medium of breaking arms. Also helping to rid Gotham's streets of thugs and ne'er-do-wells is the Batmobile, which bats can use to power through the streets of open-world Gotham and fire non-lethal yet almost certainly organ-splitting beanbags at enemies. Then there's just the already great but somehow improved combat system and the upgraded visuals, which now look like an animated movie being rendered in real time by magical computers. We're playing it, is basically what we're saying. We're not going to pretend to understand all the complexities of Project Cars, the in-depth driving sim that's on the way in March following a successful crowdfunding campaign and a deal with distributor Bandai Namco. What we do know is that the veering to hardcore racer is aiming for authenticity with a highly developed physics engine capable of 600 calculations per second for best-in-class presentation, with a benchmark set at 60 frames per second and 1080p on PS4, and for a gaming experience you've not had before, which is why it features an open sandbox approach with various career paths open to you from the start. Really though, what our Sunday driver eyes have been drawn to the most is that it's really pretty to look at, even when we're spinning off the track backwards. No, we're not bored of zombies, thank you very much. As far as we're concerned, they're evergreen, like burgers or whatever those trees are that keep their leaves all year round. And Dying Light makes zombies extra green, metaphorically speaking, by introducing 2 key things: a free-running mechanic which makes dodging around the rotting plodders a smug, fleet-footed joy, and a dynamic day-night cycle that makes fleet-footedness seem much less smug after dark when the zombies get exponentially more powerful and being outside, especially dancing about on a fence, becomes a terrible idea. There's also weapons customization, 4-person co-op play and asymmetrical multiplayer, and well, we'll have to leave it there because I can't stop thinking about burgers. It seems that these days, being a PS4 owner, if you shut your eyes and wish hard enough to a game, then that game will appear. That's certainly how we felt about Grim Fandango Remastered, which brings Tim Schafer's classic adventure game with its brilliant blend of film noir and the Aztec afterlife to PS4 in 2015. And yes, that is an odd combination, which is why Grim Fandango is regularly ranked among the most underrated games of all time, and why you really need to give this new version a go. Hotline Miami was like a hot neon disco of deadly violence and surprisingly awesome music, a tight, furious throwback to the days of video nasties and vigilantism, with a deranged storyline and a compulsively violent hero who might have been imagining it all anyway. So of course we're excited about the follow-up Wrong Number, which brings more of the same, only with new characters, each with unique appearances and attributes, and an unlockable hard mode which makes enemies tougher, and the whole thing more awash with desperation and twitchy fatalities. Sounds perfect to us. If Dragon Age Inquisition gave you a taste for high fantasy open world adventure, then set your dials to, oh my god, for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, an action-heavy role-player with 2 playable characters. Series mainstay Geralt is a gruff, monster-killing sword and magic master, while newly playable Ciri adds a welcome feminine touch, by which we mean she kicks ass. Expect an epic story, an enormously detailed open world to explore, and plenty of lightning-fast real-time combat. Expect to book a week off work for when it comes out. Expect it to be utterly amazing. We've been waiting a long time for this one, since it was a completely different game called Final Fantasy Versus 13 on PS3 in fact, but the wait is almost over, with Final Fantasy 15's release in 2015 looking very likely thanks to the fact a playable demo for the game comes bundled with Final Fantasy Type 0 HD in March. That means it's not long at all until we get to flippantly murder majestic wildlife in one of the most beautiful fantasy landscapes we've ever witnessed. Plus the battle system looks an exciting mix of micromanaging strategy and jumping around skyscrapers with a magic sword. And if you were worried 15 was leaning too close to reality, what with its cars and black t-shirts, well, just look at the size of that thing. You're not going to run into one of those on the M4. When we saw Kingdom Hearts 3 revealed at E3 2014, we all pretended to be cool and didn't squeal with excitement because we're grown adults and a game with Donald Duck and Disney princesses is like, whatever. But oh my god, Kingdom Hearts 3 looks incredible, the way the dazzling cartoon visuals have evolved into strokes of gorgeous next-gen vibrancy, the way it feels every bit as magic as it did back in 2002 on PS2. That's right, it's been a whole generation since we've seen Sora and pals in a full-blown home console Kingdom Hearts game, and the return of the Keyblade Master can't come soon enough. Who knows what new Disney worlds we'll get to uncover? We can dream. Oh, 2015, stop spoiling us. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain has us reeling with excitement, mainly as the taster we've had in Ground Zeroes was a versatile, varied treat. Consider the main event is approximately 200 times the size of Ground Zeroes, and the stealthy possibilities seem near endless, and that's without mentioning the base-building multiplayer or the inclusion of a full-blown Metal Gear Online, which is shaping up to be an incredible game in its own right. Ultimately, though, it's the sprawling, epic story of the Phantom Pain we really can't wait to get stuck into, unravelling its mysteries, slipping through its gorgeous scenery, punching a man in the face because he stared for too long at a lady on a box. Ah yes, you kept us waiting, but we forgive you. Lastly, what better way to end than with a shower of blood and erupting limbs that announce the arrival of Mortal Kombat 10. The venerable fighter returns for a 10th outing in April, bringing not just the expected lorry load of skin-stripping, skull-crushing fatalities, but also the environmental interaction system seen in NetherRealm's other fighter, Injustice: Gods Among Us, and new combat variations for each character. There's also the small matter of the brutal combat and all these fatalities, more than any other Mortal Kombat game has ever featured, being delivered to us at 60 frames per second and 1080p, meaning we'll get to see every blow landed and drop of blood spilled. Merry 2015. And that is the big list of PS4 games that we think you should definitely be excited for in 2015. Subscribe to stick with us through the year if you want to see the latest on all these games as they emerge. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and let us know in the comments what game you're most excited about in 2015, especially if we didn't mention it on our list.